it's to be, if it's to be, whoa, if it's to be, it's up to me. If I seek the truth, let me speak the truth. If I'm lost in doubt, let me believe. I know I can be the change I want to see. And if it's to be, if it's to be, oh, if it's to be, it's up to me. If I'm tired and stressed, let me stop and rest. If
Hello there. If you don't make peace with your past, it will keep showing up in your present. This is Shirley T. Burke, and this is a special edition of Something Different. The young men that produced this show called and said, would I be willing to do a show during this 6-week period, and I was thrilled to death to be asked. And then I was thrilled to death of the guests that I asked to come. You will be just thrilled at the information you'll find out about this evening. I think if you can't use what they are talking about, you know somebody that can. That's how I think critical the resources that we're providing tonight are, and the guests are phenomenal. I have the young lady I have next to me. She's going to introduce herself, and right now.
I am Letitia McDougall. I am the owner and producer of the May We Help You Radio Network. I'm also the owner of May We Help You LLC. And I am the social media writer for Slantress Magazine and a social media teacher as well.
So, social media teacher is what I've been hearing about for weeks now. Tell me how I heard, because I've told you.
And it was really fun. I was asked to teach a class at the main library here in Richmond, and by putting together a 5-week program, introducing people to different aspects of social media. And one of your close friends attended that class.
Yes.
She told me she was taking notes for 2. She said she was going to charge you for that book.
Yeah. We had to buy some dinner or something.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, we had a great time, and each week the class grew. And I think a lot of people was able to take some really valuable information, especially business owners, from what they were able to get out of it.
Social media, make mention of which ones that you covered, because some people, when you say social media, there's still some of us don't even know what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
And they need to know.
So the class that I designed for the library, we actually went over Twitter, Facebook, Google+. We also went over Pinterest, which a lot of people don't know is one of the best places to go right now if you are selling. Because 20% more sales are closed on Pinterest than on any other social media.
Really? Repeat that for the business people that we are listening out there.
20% more sales are closed now on Pinterest than any other of the social medias, especially the ones that you pay for. Facebook, Twitter, when you pay for these ads, you don't have to pay for it on Pinterest.
Yes.
And we also talked about Hootsuite so that you can kind of round it, bring it all together, and find out how to smartly manage it every day.
Yes, because Hootsuite, you can type it one place and it goes to all of those other social media networks that you talked about.
And even if, because we talk about the Twitter is 140 characters.
Yes, I'm telling you.
So you don't want to always be limiting yourself on what you're going to do on Facebook and Google+. So what I also teach people to do is to customize that one post, copy it, put it in everythring else, repaste it, and edit it just for Twitter.
Yes, because that's what I do now without using Hootsuite, because I wanted to look, and I hopefully when I start making $75,000 an hour, I'll start doing it on Hootsuite. But I just got a thing for people knowing that it's for real.
That's right.
And
well, this is the difference. And I actually manage a lot of people's social media for them as well from the LLC standpoint. I do social media takeover branding. I help with their Google Hangouts when they're trying to do their own seminars. And one of the things that I tell them, I understand what you're saying, it's like ghostwriting. Because you can do 30 days, 60 days, and so how do I know it's personal? because you still can go back to Facebook and you can still make it personal.
Personal,
You
yeah.
can still go back and tag those photos that you put in. You can
Right.
still go back and engage people in those conversations. So when I recently did one of the people that have hired me to do their social media, the cool thing about it is seeing how many people engage her, talk to her from the posts that I've created.
See, that is what they want to, that's the whole purpose. Because you write a question and people just hit like, and I understand. I take it as saying, I see this and I agree with
But
this.
it's that engagement.
Engagement is what you're
Yes.
trying to get.
Yes.
And that's what we're trying to work on getting more of too. But I like what you're saying because we don't know, I don't know. I learned with you the things that questions that I ask when I interview people, and I love that because it's keeping it real.
That's right.
And it's so exciting to hear it about you this is what the LLC does. That's what,
right.
may I help you? That's what it does.
That's
So
right.
it works with other people
Absolutely.
and do work for other people. I don't know when you're going to sleep, girl,
I
because you
know.
do a lot.
Hashtag team no sleep, everybody. I'm telling you, that's what we have to be. We have, and so many of the entrepreneurs that I work with, we're all on that same team. Even though we own separate businesses, we talk to each other 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because we're all up.
I believe it. I believe because I've gotten things that said 3 a.m. The young lady that might call in on the telephone, Catrice was answering something 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, I was saying that, but I was up. Up too, because sometimes that brain gets to going, or you can't sleep, so you
But
work.
you know what else that I find that I like working overnight? I don't get the interruptions of the phone
Yes,
calls.
that's true. That is true.
You know, whether somebody's calling me for the radio station business, whether I'm doing shows, whether I'm doing someone's social media, anything, I get emails, text messages, everything throughout the day.
Yes.
And usually about 1 o'clock is when people kind of know, okay, I don't want to push this boundary. So that's when I can bust out a lot of work.
yeah, I understand. I know you mentioned a lot of things, but I think right away I would like for you to give people your contact information, because what you're saying is that they can hire you or even just for informational purposes, but you can actually do the actual work in terms of social media. But sometimes the paying for information is just as valuable as having to work there, because some people know how to do some things, and then there are those that need you to actually do it.
And not just doing the work for them. If you have a downline, if you are working with multiple people, I also do the teaching of social media. That's the one thing. That's why I am referral based only for my business. I don't want to keep the customer.
Yeah,
I would rather
awesome.
get you, start doing some of your work, helping you out too, especially if you have an event. But then before it's done, I want to be able to sit you down and have that one-on-one and teach you how to start smartly campaigning in your social media yourself, so you don't have to hire me again.
That is awesome.
I mean,
that
I
is
still
awesome.
get people that tell me that I'm never going to do this without you.
Yeah, you're spoiled. Yeah, especially if it's working. If it works, why would they want
Exactly,
to? Bad as me playing at a church for, so I always took playing the piano at a church for people. I say, I'll till you find somebody else. 34 years. When I left, they started using their machines to do it,
Yeah.
34 years. So I understand what that person is telling you when you say, hey, I'm not going to leave because it's working.
It's working.
Exactly. Why look?
But I can definitely be reached at, for the radio network, we are www.mwhyradio.com. So that stands for May We Help You Radio.com. And I can be reached at Letitia M. at mwhyradio.com. I make it so easy.
Yes. And they can find you on Facebook. If they have Facebook and
absolutely.
LinkedIn.
So, Facebook, LinkedIn. I would only be smart to also be on Google Plus about 3 or 4 different times, because you can find the LLC there. You can find the radio
that's
network.
yes.
On Twitter, we love for you to just say hello to us on Twitter at MWHY Radio. And hang out with us on the network. Like, we air 7 days a week. So call in and find out when we have shows at 646-652-2512.
Give that number again to call in.
646-652-2512. And you was actually recently on one of the shows.
Yes, I was the 31st. Yeah, the last Saturday. I was real honored to be on there. I had a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And that is really the first time I had experienced the typing while the show was going on. Like, we were talking to each other. We did this while we were on.
That's right.
Yeah, breaks and stuff.
That's what we do. While I'm behind the scenes doing the shows, running the commercials, listening to the guests. I've had, we all have technical issues.
Yeah.
We can't judge what it's going to happen to equipment.
Right.
I've had hosts that would be talking to their guests and their phone would die.
Really?
So I have to unmute my mic and continue that conversation with that guest until the
really?
host can call back in. You would be surprised of things that go on, you know. So you got to kind of be that Johnny on the spot.
Yes. Will it ever get to a point where you would have to hire somebody?
Actually, I started an internship program.
Okay.
So I'm glad that you kind of brought that up.
Yeah.
We started 2 different aspects of the program. One is for people who are looking to learn more about social media and want to start helping us do it, so that they can start kind of taking over the social media and branding. And the other one is for more marketing and sales, for people who want to sell our packages, our sponsors, our advertising that we have for the network itself. We definitely are offering commission-based for that internship program.
Awesome. So there's a possibility of employment.
Absolutely.
Get that information again. Like how would they? Which one of those things do they do to get that information?
Email me about information for that would be Letitia M at mwhyradio.com. But for the internship program, if you go to internships.com, you can find both of the applications that I set up there and apply that way as well. So,
awesome.
And for business owners who are looking for internships, internship.com.
Internship. You make it. They can say you make it easy.
I'm telling you.
Awesome. Now the young lady that interviewed me that day is Catrice Smith, and she
does a radio show, Uncuffed.
Yeah, and I love her basis and her experience and exposure.
She's just really that great woman who has so many different aspects of her.
Yes.
She went from being a police officer for over 20 years to Miss Corporate America.
Yes, I saw that. I was so tickled.
She has this book that's out. She is touring places for the book. She's touring places as Miss Corporate America.
Yes.
And also, Cherie Cofield is running for next year, Miss Corporate America. She is now Miss Maryland, where she is. I want to say Miss Baltimore. If I said that incorrectly, I'm sorry. But we have so many different hosts with such great talent and so many different shows. And some of them are about empowerment, spirituality, business. We have Erica Murray, who is an international business owner. She owns businesses in Jamaica and Bahamas and in China. Now, how many black women own businesses
I think to tell you, we need to be listening to find out, because I have learned.
And that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
Her show is about showing you how to become global.
Yeah.
So it's about learning how to grow that business, how to nurture it, and then take it out of the U.S. Don't just look to brand it in your own neighborhood. So, I mean, we have shows from, something as serious as that all the way to music programs to just kind of get you moving in your seat.
Yeah, awesome. Give the information again. Where do they find that lady that's doing business overseas?
So you definitely want to visit us at the Radio Network website. So that's mwhyradio.com. You can see all the hosts that we have there. We have 2 more hosts that's actually coming this month. So we'll have about 16 to 18 hosts.
Awesome.
Throughout the network itself. We air 7 days a week. We even have our own app. So if you have a Android device, I know,
right? I saw that. It's awesome.
So, we just want to be able to let them know to connect with us and to hang out with us. As a matter of fact, we have an event that's going to be at the local PBS station.
Here, yes. Oh, here. That's overall for Huguenot, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And it's going to be September 13th. It's going to be a meet and greet with May We Help You Radio Network, where they get to meet the different hosts.
Here at
They're going to be
Virginia.
doing their shows just like we're doing here.
Yeah.
And we're going to have live entertainment in between the shows.
Awesome.
And anyone who signs up to be a vendor or a sponsor for that event, they actually get to come up to the stage and platform for 5 to 10 minutes as well.
Awesome.
So it's not one of those type of places where you just come, set up a table, and
people walk around.
There you go.
Yeah.
You get to actually tell people what it is that you do
on the radio?
And drive them. It's going to be, some of it's going to be live on the air. We're going to get the PBS station to record some of it. And, it's fun for the whole family, so it's going to be a great time.
Awesome.
And the tickets are free.
This is Richmond, Virginia.
Yes,
this
it
is
is.
Richmond, Virginia, September the 13th.
Yes, it is.
This is how we met.
Yes, it is, at the PBS station.
Yes, we went there. We were at the networking
With
for
Miss
women's,
Vega.
women's network group, and we went to tour
The PBS station afterwards with Miss Ashley Lachey Young.
Yes, yes.
High Heroes Academy.
Yes,
And
yes. And what's that girl's name? I can't think her name right now.
Mary Ange.
Yes.
She is from New Jersey. She's in New Jersey.
Right, yep.
And we had a wonderful time.
Brown is the girl's name that is at the center.
Yes.
Her last name. I can't think of it right, but I
know
do know
it's
Gwen.
Gwen Brown, because
Yeah.
she's my contact still
Yeah.
through the PBS.
Yeah.
So Gwen took us on a great tour. We got to meet Miss Vega before she left. You know,
Yes.
she left Richmond.
Yeah, I went back to Texas.
Yeah, she missed
and
home.
we were on the air that day.
Yes, we were.
Yes,
We were
so
some lucky ladies. We
yes,
could go wherever we want.
But isn't that how it's been happening like that, hasn't it?
Yes, it is.
This is just how karma is when you try to do the right thing.
That's right.
When you
That's
work
right.
on it and help other people.
Absolutely.
That is just how it works. Now, Catrice was supposed to call in during your segment, and she hasn't called yet, but I think it's time for me to start interviewing some of the other ladies, but
Absolutely.
we can fix that.
Okay.
We'll fix that, and we'll check with her. And I'm just going to let people know that hopefully when we have been told that we will have a show the first Wednesday in January through the first Wednesday in February.
Nice.
And that show is at a decent hour, 7:30 to 8:30 at night. That's when we normally come on for 5 weeks. So we are looking forward to maybe having you come back.
Awesome.
I've already asked those guests that are here to see if they want to come back, because we're not able to tell everything tonight.
That's right.
And you are doing things that help people. How can I help you? How many people ask that question, y'all? How many people ask that question? How can I help you?
That's right.
How can I help you?
And we make sure that our answer to service is always yes.
Yes. And you go to that website and you'll get an idea of things that they have handled in the past, or categories that they specifically work with.
Yes.
And sometimes I guess they make up categories based on who called to try to help them. You come up with new categories based on that. But you do a lot of work. You all were doing a lot of work in New Jersey when I first met you all, right?
Yes, back and forth, because we were working with a nonprofit. She was putting together a race, so that was one of the projects that we had taken on. We was also working with Purple Rain, which is a nonprofit organization that deals with domestic violence.
Yes.
I'm also
Are you
part
still doing that?
I'm actually part of the Real Women Empowerment Project, and the woman who owns that company is also.
Oh, okay.
So we're always roundtabling
Yes.
services and helping each other the best way that we all can.
Roundtable and services. That
That's
means
right.
that you have a lot of resources.
That's right.
That she has a lot of resources that she can pull in when she asks you, how can I help you? She knows somebody that can help her.
Absolutely.
Help you.
Absolutely.
I just
And
think that's
the
so
idea.
powerful. Yeah, I just think that's so powerful. And when people say that I can't get this, I don't know this, and nobody will help, there are services that we don't know about. So that's why I so appreciate you coming on tonight.
No problem.
At 10 o'clock, at 9 o'clock.
It's definitely my pleasure.
Yes, and so you've already said that based on what's going on, because I know if you get 50 other people on the air, you might not be able to come in here on the first Wednesday.
Well, with the internship program and hopefully with more sponsors and more advertisers, I will be able to come out and network and meet people and bridge people together a lot more.
Yes,
That's the idea.
Great. That's the whole idea. All right, one more time, give us the contact information, and because any of those things, I think they can get to what they want.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
So I'm going to give you the website is www.mwhyradio.com, and you can also email me at Letitia, LATISHAM at mwhyradio.com. But I would really appreciate it if you would tweet us tonight at mwhyradio.
Awesome. Tweet tonight. Now,
right.
part of my business say you shorten the distance between thought and action. Tonight, y'all.
That's right. That's
Tonight.
right. Not tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm hoping all my people are not in bed. You know what I'm saying? When you said 9 o'clock, I said, oh, but it's going to be up on YouTube, and even when you hear tweet tonight, tweet today if that's when you look at YouTube. Because they don't care when it happens, just as long as you make contact.
And we always respond to everybody who tweets us, so it's always a good time. And we're going to also put it up on our page so that you can see us there too. So we're just looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here.
And I don't know whether we're going to have time or not, but we might call all the people back. But just hang in here.
Definitely will.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a break, and then during the time of the break, we're going to bring our next guest on.
If I seek the truth, let me speak the truth. If I'm lost in doubt, let me believe. I know
Hello, Shirley T. Burke again, and I have another guest I would love for you to meet. I just cannot wait for you to hear her story either. And again, I let my guests introduce themselves. And young lady, tell my viewing audience who you are.
Yes, my name is Patience Salgado.
Salgado.
Yes.
All right, now I got to confirm. You can put that down here so I can say it. Salgado.
Yep.
Salgado, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I am a kindness worker.
Ah.
I know.
Yeah, that is, just like I told her, but can I help me? I help you. Being a kindness worker is different. Just saying it like that. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, did this start when you were little?
It's interesting. I guess in a way that it did. As a little girl, I was really, really sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
I could kind of walk in a room and sort of feel the feelings in a room.
Ah.
And I can remember going to kindergarten for the first day, and there was a little boy to my left, and he was just freaking out. He didn't want to be away from his mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
yeah.
there was a little girl across the room, and she felt the very same way that he did,
Mm-hmm.
but she had it on total lockdown. And then there was
And you
another...
recognize this in kindergarten?
Yeah, I can remember it very
Yeah.
vividly.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another little girl or another little boy, and he was so happy to play his tail off without his mama.
No. Oh, yes.
But what was so interesting is that I could feel all of those children,
I understand.
those feelings, just like they were my own. And
Yeah.
what I didn't realize that day was that little thing about me that that I felt so deeply would kind of set me on a path for my life.
Yes, and intuitions.
Yeah, it
real
was.
deep
Yeah.
intuition. That is awesome, Patient.
Yeah.
I've just finished telling the people to talk about that kindness. Talk about the kindness.
So as a kindness worker, I serve kindness, and I also
When you say serve, it's just like serving food, giving. All right.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. But I promote kindness as a way of life, not
Yes.
just like something that we do, but who we are and who we want to
Who we
become.
are.
Yeah.
Say that one more time, a little slower.
Yeah.
But who we are and who we become.
Who we want to become. Yeah.
Mm.
And part of the ways that I do that is I have a blog called Kindness Girl, and I write about kindness there. And then I do community organizing, and I plan events that kind of range all these different ways. Some of them are guerrilla.
Gorilla, talk about it. I saw that Gorilla website out there. Yeah. Tell us about Gorilla.
Yes. So I would plant things all over the city.
Plant.
Yes. And it sounds kind of funny, but it kind of goes back to that school part. When I was in college, I was kind of nervous my first few weeks of college, and I was in the library, so I wrote down a little message that I needed to hear myself. And it was, "You're going to be okay."
Yeah.
And I put it in a library book, and I shut the library book, and I put it back on the shelf.
Oh, God.
And I was really intoxicated with the idea that I could be
Somebody.
connected to another human being, and our only connection, even though we might never ever meet, would be something good or hopeful.
Yeah.
So I started doing that all over.
Yeah.
And leaving notes, and when I got married and had babies, I would take my babies out, and we would do something like leave Starbucks cards on different parts of the city, at the playground or at the library, and we would just leave little notes. And before I knew it, I started writing about it, and more people started coming to my blog, and they became missions. We started doing kindness missions with the city together.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome. Because I'm sort of like that with sayings.
Yes.
You have programs, and like I'll give away books and stuff, and I'll write sayings in a book, and especially when I have seminars, and I get people to pick their own book, and everybody say that what is in there is theirs.
Yes, and it was meant for them.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
And something else that I feel strongly about that you said, when I do what I do, I give what I need.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So
I know
true.
you do. I know you do.
You know, so much of this work was actually built on the things that I needed myself.
Yeah.
And so what we learned was if I needed it,
Somebody
probably
might do.
somebody else needed it too.
That is exactly true.
Yeah.
That
So
is-
this kindness doesn't come from being good.
Yeah.
It comes from a longing to be connected as human beings.
As human beings.
Yeah.
And I keep telling people, we keep forgetting that human element of things as things change so fast and all. So now people are getting excited about getting a handwritten letter because
It's
people are
true.
doing this and email. They get excited about that now, you know. And some of the young people are saying, "I like holding the paper in my hand.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's enough to keep it like that,
Yeah.
but they say they like the book. The younger people, I know the older people do, but things that brings that familiarity,
Yes.
the realness, I think it is,
Yes.
the realness of life,
Yes.
connecting with that other person, even whether they don't know it a lot of times.
Right.
Then they don't know why it makes them feel the way they feel
Right.
when they read it
Right.
or when they get it.
That's correct.
But you know, that's why you left it.
You do,
Yeah,
you do. And
yeah.
I really think that's kind of what we're longing for.
Yes.
And I also believe there's a difference between being nice and being kind.
Kind,
And I think
yeah.
they kind of get confused sometimes. You know, I feel like nice is societal and
Yeah.
polite is the
Yes,
things we
yeah.
kind of feel like we should do.
Yes.
But kindness is empathy and compassion. And nice makes us model citizens, but kindness makes us part of a human family.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people that are very nice, but they're not actually very kind. And I know a lot of people that don't appear to be very nice at all, but when you really dig, they're
Isn't
very
it truth?
kind.
Isn't it truth?
Yes.
That is so true. I've been discussing that in some of the training. I work for a company out of New York that I do employee assistance programs all over the state. And a lot of things come up, and I keep have to remind them of that human element.
Yes.
And
yes.
you know, people, what you read might not be what it is. And also one of the things that I've learned, because I don't know your story.
That's right.
When I know your story, I have a different feeling about you. You can be a difficult person at work, but knowing your story, the way I see you is different. Not that you're not difficult anymore. I say, are they difficult or are they different?
Yes.
You know what I'm
yes.
saying?
And I think it also widens the circle because
Yeah.
I think kindness is often associated with a gentleness or a weakness, but it
yeah.
actually requires a lot of strength.
Oh, Lord. Yes, that is so
Yes.
true.
Yes.
That is so true.
Yeah, so I think we're widening the circle, and it's so interesting that you mentioned stories because we just did a project last year called "The Light of Human Kindness."
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We did a mural here in Richmond on West Carey Street at the old bus depot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we collected people's stories. We just asked them what was a dark or a hard time in their life,
Yes.
and what one bit of kindness made a difference.
Yes, that was wonderful.
Yeah, we collected all these stories and we wrote them. We transcribed them on a wall, 120 feet long and 25 feet high.
All those stories.
All those stories, and I found the most interesting part was I thought what people had done in the stories that they shared would be grand gestures, but what was interesting was that they were very simple. It was just people being present for each other and just sort of showing up.
Showing up.
Yeah,
showing
in a
up.
dark time, just saying I'm
Showing
here.
Showing up is 95% of life.
Yeah.
That other 5%, that's my perception.
I
But the
agree.
other 5% is critical.
Yeah.
But that 95% is the hardest.
Yeah.
Showing up.
Yeah.
I just think it's just hard. I don't care what it is. It's just tough. It's tough to do.
It is.
It's tough to do.
Yeah, so after we collected these stories, we had a beautiful artist come in, Hamilton Glass, and he did this beautiful line work, this mural over the stories, and then we put 1,000 LED lights on top of that.
Oh, God.
And then we asked people to do acts of kindness, and when they would do an act of kindness and enter it on the web, when they hit that button submit, it would light up a light on the wall.
Really?
Yeah, so we actually brought a light to the dark with our kindness in the city.
Oh, that is so. Is it still there?
It is still there. The light portion of the exhibit is over, but you can still go and read the stories. And it's really, really powerful, I think, to see that much dark and that much hope in one place.
Hope.
Yeah, and I think everybody that goes there, you find a little bit about yourself.
I believe you can't ever read other people's story without it affecting you.
Yes.
People, this is really strange because yesterday that was part of what I had to talk about: hope, not hope, but empathy, sympathy, and compassion. That was part of the presentation I had to make. And this is corporate.
Yes.
This was corporate that working with. People can't have empathy unless you have empathy. You can't have sympathy. You have to have, you know what I'm saying? You have to have
they go
one.
hand in hand.
Yeah, because put yourself into somebody else's place, and people don't do that too often. That takes kindness, I think.
Yeah, I think it does. I think, kindness isn't something we feel. It's actually something that we do. Yeah, so it asks something of us. But I do think when we do reach out, the power of kindness is pretty amazing.
Strong.
Yeah, I always had this saying that kindness changes everything. And so in my work, I think I've doubted that at moments and tested it and looked at it from all of these different angles, always trying to figure out, well, will kindness work in this situation? And
just trust the process
and
I'm just
amazed.
do it.
I'm humbled, actually,
I understand.
Every time.
I understand.
That it really does.
Yes.
Yeah, I really don't feel like
wonderful.
there isn't anything that it can't touch or do.
At all.
Yeah.
At all.
No. Yeah.
At all.
Absolutely.
And it's a simple thing. And through my lifetime, I have found that it's those simple things that work, but we're always looking for that grandiose stuff. That's why people don't do. They think it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the smaller, I use the term shift instead of change whenever I can. The smaller the shift, the bigger the change.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
The bigger the change, instead of waiting for, because I can't do thus and so, I'm not going to do it. But I said, just make a telephone call, ask somebody a question about your dream.
Right.
Look the number up.
Right.
Today look the number up, tomorrow
make the call.
Right. And then leave a message if nobody answers.
Right.
And then something else, make a note of you made the call. Just each day do a little something.
Yeah.
The smaller the shift, because that has you doing. It has you doing. It matters.
Yeah. I don't think that we know what other people are carrying. So even your smallest act of kindness might seem very small to you, but to someone else, it actually can become something very major or big. Yeah.
I started to read this before you came on, but I decided to wait because when I saw this, I thought about you.
Oh.
It says, I am convinced of this. Good done anywhere. Anywhere is good. Done everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you are breathing, it's never too late to do some good. Maya Angelou.
Oh.
I thought this was just what you work with. This is what you've been saying this evening.
Yeah, and she was our ancestor on that. Now she is.
Yeah.
In so many ways, she held the space fiercely.
Yes.
And beautifully, and with such a strong presence. I'm so grateful to her. I mean, she's definitely one of my heroes. In that way.
Totally.
I know one of my favorite other quotes is, "People won't remember what you did or what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel."
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, when you feel, it's the soul. It's that the deepest inner part that remembers. And that's so critical.
Yeah.
That is so critical.
It is.
I didn't think about this at the time, but I am a member of River City. And also I go to that exchange. So you want to tell the people they can come to see you in person.
Oh,
on
the women's exchange?
Yeah, on the 26th, and they want us to bring young women.
Yes.
At least 8 years old, but if you have a smart 6-year-old, we want to start our young girls and young ladies being exposed to. Your discussion will be about what you do, and there are 2 other women coming.
Yes, 2 other really wonderful women, and we'll be speaking about social impact in different varieties. I believe Marty will be speaking about Plan G, and
I did remember to bring this. I remember to bring this.
Yes, and Miss Shetty, she really approaches social.
What's her name?
Sonali Shetty, and she works at Hodges Digital, but she's talking about technology and young women and change.
Yes.
But it's going to be a really interesting and wonderful time just to have the mix of young women and older women. And I also think this is a really interesting time because women, the strengths that have been associated with women are starting to rise in our culture.
It's starting to be noticed. It's always been there.
Right,
it's always been there. If I might just make it real, it's always been. It's been behind the scenes and not honored. In corporations, so many times I've had to correct my boss's THEIR to THRE because he sent me his stuff for the correct. I had to correct. But he got the raises.
Yes.
He got promoted.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And I'm not the only woman that was doing that. We do a lot of things silently in the home and what have you.
That's correct.
But it's coming out now because we are getting in positions.
It is.
Yeah.
And strengths like vulnerability and compassion and kindness, like these traits are being talked about now, and we are rising in them.
Yes.
And our culture is requiring them now.
Definitely.
So it is really powerful, and I'm really excited to be able to speak. So definitely come out on June 26th, and it's the Women's Exchange put out by the Chamber.
Yeah.
And they're just such a wonderful network anyway of being supportive of women.
Yeah, I love the separate thing. It's going to be at the Jetson Center on College Street at the University of Richmond. At the University of Richmond. I think you can go onto the Chamber's website maybe, or the River City Network, Women's Network. I think we have some information about it. We were one of the first people to do the conversations. I was on the 5 of us were on the first
Extraordinary Women's Exchange. Yes.
It was an exhilarating experience. It was an educational experience in terms of I met a lot of women and connected. One of the ladies that was on with us, Roberta Sachs, I think I call her name. She was a reporter that went to over there where the ladies wear the hoods and have to walk behind the men.
In the Middle East somewhere?
Yes, she was. She did that report for the CBS, I think. Roberta, I'm probably saying this all wrong, but I know she was over there with the women. And she said the man told her, said when we said go, don't be standing here. Said I want to ask one more question. So, one man showed up, then there's 10, then there's 20, because these people stone you. They don't recognize women over there, and that's why I always thought when we sent our women over there as representatives, they knew that these people didn't respect women.
Wow.
But our women like Condoleezza Wright and Mrs. Clinton and stuff. That's one of the things that I always thought about, that those people didn't respect women. And we were sending them over there to do important things. Not that they didn't do it.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, those people don't have the same feeling for life, and their culture is totally different. So sometimes we have to do a little better in terms of working with that. I'm glad
and I think that a lot of those women, even in their own country, that are rising too. I mean, it's revolutionary.
Yeah, that little girl they shot her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's real. It is real. It's real. But this is so true about the women in the United States. It hasn't been 100 years since we had the right to vote. You know that. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that people are changing the thoughts so fast, but it's just I think we are changing our minds.
Yes.
We're stepping up.
Yes, and I think we're stepping together.
Yeah.
And I think that's a difference too.
That's one of the things the Chamber's helping with when they have these couch conversations 2 or 3 times a year where we bring women together, and it's getting larger and larger.
It is.
Getting larger and larger. And I think it's smart to have kindness on.
Oh, I'm so excited and honored to be part of it.
Yeah, it is wonderful. It is wonderful because women weren't taught, I keep it real, women weren't taught to be team players. Men do this because of sports. We were isolated with our dolls and stuff. Y'all younger girls do better at that now because you all have a lot of things that you can do together, and there are a lot of things coming up, like we have networking groups and stuff. But we still don't know how to. There's still a challenge with women supporting each other without having that jealousy, that cat mentality. I just keep it real, and that crab mentality. I say it's not crowded at the top.
Yeah.
It's enough room up there for everybody. And if the pie ain't big enough, let's build a bigger pie.
Yeah. Well, but I also too believe that women do know how to gather together in crisis and in hard times.
Oh God, always. We're the ones that do it. We're the first ones stepping up there. When it's over, you dissipate. And that's one thing I know about the South, and I see it all over. People come from all over, don't care where the tragedy is, they come together. And you see a lot of women doing just digging and pulling and supporting.
Doing the work of living.
Because I think a lot of people, if we pay attention, they also have those feelings that you say you had when you were younger, and feel you walk in the room and you can almost feel, you can read. Because the body language is speaking better than words. They say silence can't be heard, but it's one thing about it, it's never misquoted.
That's correct.
You look around and see, and you can read people, if you've been a people watcher and a people carer, if you've been caring enough to care, you can tell
Absolutely.
You can tell words people use and everything.
Yes.
It makes a difference.
Yes.
Makes a difference.
Yes. Yeah, well, I'm really excited. We've got some things brewing. The Light of Human Kindness, which is the project I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We are kind of forming together and starting a nonprofit. So,
awesome.
Yeah, and we're keeping that guerrilla goodness going. And there's some new projects in the fall that will come out. And kindness is really alive in Richmond. So we're really, really excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
And give your information again. Information again.
So I blog at kindnessgirl.com.
Okay.
And you can find me on Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram.
All of it is Kindness Girl?
Yeah, all is Kindness Girl. And then you can read about the Light of Human Kindness at thelightofhumankindness.com.
Okay.
And also on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. It's Kindness Lights on Twitter, but the Light of Human Kindness on Instagram as well.
Okay. And I think, well, please tell us about the O magazine.
Oh.
And I was real proud to read that. That matters.
Thank you.
Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah.
That matters.
Yeah, so someone I really didn't even know and has now become a wonderful friend and ally and team member, Miss Judy Crenshaw, had a friend, and she passed my name and story on to her. I knew none of these women. They had just read about me on Twitter, and she had pitched a story to O Magazine, and she couldn't tell me at the time
because she didn't know
who it was.
Yeah.
And so she just said, you want to meet with me for this interview. And so I met with her, and it was really on the edge whether it would even come out, because until those things are in print, nothing is for real. And so
they could not print about kindness. I just don't believe they could not print about kindness. I understand what you're saying.
So sure enough, it came out in an issue of O Magazine, and that Oprah power is a very real thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Within a week, I had so many requests from people in other cities to want to do this work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had 20 chapters for Guerrilla Goodness, which is the guerrilla kindness work, within less than a month, and 20 more on tap.
It's awesome.
From all over the world.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So it
phenomenal.
Just gave us this amazing platform to take this work to another place and really just tell people the power of kindness.
Yes.
We're so grateful. That was it was just a wonderful opportunity.
That's great. That's great. And your Huffington magazine too.
I blog for Huffington Post.
Yeah, regularly.
Here and there, I probably should do it more.
No. I understand. I write for Online Magazine. Every time I look, it's the 10th and it's due, I'm going to start writing this week for next. I'm writing now for August, what I write now, because I already got the July thing, and I can now have to start on August, and I don't like the pressure.
Yes.
I don't like the pressure.
I'm also working on a book right now. So.
Awesome. Me too.
Good for you.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I read some days to finish a book in 20 minutes. I'm going to read that. I don't believe it, but I'm going to read it.
I wish somebody would let me do it in 20 minutes. If I could do it in 20 minutes.
I know they probably say you write on it every 20 minutes a day. If you do that, it'll be finished. Because a lot we already got written. And other places just pulling together.
Well, I think it's when you've lived it for quite a few years.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Patience, I am going to have my next guest come, but you have said that you wouldn't mind coming back. And even if it can't be the first night, maybe, I'll have 5 weeks starting January, the first Wednesday. But I'd like for you to come back, and you can have some specific things that you want to share, because we would like to muster up our viewing audience, maybe if we can find out some way to have people that are actually looking to get to do something. I would like to have them call in and stuff like that to get to do something. And out in the counties, like I'm originally from Goochland, Henrico and Richmond, and I think Hanover will get to see this, and then we're going to put it up on YouTube. So I would like to have it actually done, not just you come and talk and share, but we want them to do.
Yeah, maybe we could do a kindness mission together.
That would be wonderful.
Shirley
T. I like. All right, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much for coming this time of night. I love it. I appreciate you all coming. All right, we're going to have our next guest, and and I do appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. We are going to take a break again, and we got one more guest. And then our show is almost over. This didn't take long at all, did it?
Sure did.
All right.
If it's to be, whoa, if it's to be, it's up to me.
Hey there, we're back. The show is almost over, but I'm gonna tell you, the last person I know from a year or so now,
Yes.
and this young lady I met at a networking group, and I want her to tell you what she does because I think it's so interesting. Introduce yourself, young lady.
Thank you, Shirley. My name is Terry Dysick, and I own Guidance Incorporated, where I provide mediation services. And it is a wonderful program in which we offer mediation services to the community as well as to the Virginia family-related courts. Also, I've done some training recently with the military, traveling to different Army bases, providing the SHARP program. For those who are familiar with that, it's the Sexual Harassment and Sexual Assault Prevention Program. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. I do a lot of training in different capacities, and I also provide workshops in the community when possible, working collaboratively with other partners.
Awesome. Terry, when we met at the networking thing, and then we invited you to come to the show that I co-host, and now you are, what the clerk call you, expert? Resident.
Expert.
Resident expert.
She got a name for
Yeah,
it.
she does. And what I thought was interesting, you traveling, and I asked her, I don't usually do anything in advance. I hear with you
Yes.
when we on the air like this. But I thought about to check with her about this military thing because I thought that was real interesting. Because a lot of information had been on the news about what had been going on
Yes.
with women in the military and what have you. And in fact, the seminar I had May the 9th, this came up. A lot of military stuff came up in that seminar. I thought it was interesting. Somebody even suggested that I do a specific workshop just on the things that came up with military people.
Yeah.
But I thought, can you tell us a little bit about the traveling and where you went? And I know you if you can mention a little bit the type of training, just a little bit about the training.
Sure.
We don't have very long, but
Right.
you will come back in January too, right?
I sure will,
Okay,
Shirley.
okay, because I know
Yes.
people want to hear about this.
I had a great opportunity to travel to various bases. I've been to Fort Riley, Kansas. I was at Fort Sam Houston in Texas. Yes, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and Fort Bragg, and a few more. But I got to travel throughout the United States for about a year, and I would be home for 2 weeks and gone for 2 weeks. And I applaud my daughters for hanging in there with me on that.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience to get out, and what I was doing was teaching, again, what I call the SHARP program, or what the name of it was the SHARP program. And that's the sexual assault sexual harassment and sexual assault prevention program. The soldiers had to come through this program in order to be certified to respond to people who were victims of sexual assault or sexual harassment.
Yes, because some of the responses, as I remember from being in HR and have to help with that, can get you in trouble or not get you in trouble.
Yes.
Your response, this response time and all that stuff.
Everything is key,
Yeah.
and they've been really trying to put something in place to cut back on so much of the assaults in the military. And assaults start with harassment.
Yes.
And even in the civilian world, we
Yes.
turn our heads or we play around with the harassment part and let it go. But then if we don't watch it, it turns into assault.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of training with that. And it was a wonderful training. The training would last for 6 weeks. So we were there to train E6 and above. And it was a great program. It talked a lot about the myths of the military. It's not always women. Keep in mind that military was a men's world, for quite some time. Needless to say, there are a lot of reports from men who have been raped.
Oh, they
sexually
did report.
assaulted. Yes, they're starting to report more.
Yeah, because that's, we've had that discussion, like when the thing came up with the stuff in Atlanta, where the Reverend Long came up.
Yeah.
Why the boys hadn't reported it.
Right.
If it was
It's hard
true.
for men to report.
That's why I bring it up.
It's hard for men to speak up.
Very hard.
Right. They're not going to come forward and say things. And a lot of folks can understand why that is.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of myths, and the men are out there who have been sexually assaulted. And it's not uncommon to think that it's a lot of the new soldiers that come in that are harassed and eventually assaulted by the
just like in prison
soldiers. Yes,
just like the prison
in colleges. We can think of many institutions where the same.
I think that's important to verbalize.
Yes,
that it's not just the military, it's not just the prison.
You got your colleges, you got schools, high schools. You look for the freshmen coming in.
Yeah,
it's no different.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is dealing with making sure somebody speaks up about it.
Yeah.
Because we have, in order to change that whole piece, regardless of what institution you're dealing with,
Right.
you have to speak up on it. You can report that even as a third party.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of self-courage, because when it comes to speaking up to someone who, say, is your supervisor or your commander-in-chief or you know, your upline, period, it's hard.
Yeah.
Because you worry about retaliation.
Yes, retaliation was a
Right.
word I couldn't think about yesterday. I wanted to
Retaliation.
hear retaliation. I was in training.
Yes.
That's the word.
And there are laws against retaliation.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I probably shouldn't have said commander in chief, but your upline staff who are.
But that's normally, it's the
overseeing.
upper people that
Yeah.
normally has authority to,
Yes.
you know, they in the position to do that.
Yes, yes.
Whether it's real or implied.
Right.
Yeah.
And many people, surprisingly and not surprisingly, will encourage you not to report it. Or
Yeah.
don't say anything. It will be okay. Or you're probably not telling the truth. And it was hard for people to get that information forward. But
Yeah.
people are talking now.
Good,
And the
good,
reports
good.
are coming in. They have a wonderful channel. Confidentiality is key
Yes.
with a lot of this, as far as who they report to
Everywhere.
and how it's to be handled.
Yes.
And again, even in civilian life, it's key to know what your reporting process is if this is happening in your workplace
Right,
or in
right.
your school or what have you. There should be a procedure and
Yeah.
know who's to keep things confidential.
Right, right.
And, and where do you go from here? So self-courage, again, is a big piece, being able to have that courage to step up. We say self-courage, but that is an overrated statement, because we don't always have it when the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. You find out who you are, don't
Right.
you? You find out
Whether
who you
you're
are.
going to speak up on it
Yes.
or not. And so many things happen, especially the children in the homes
Yes.
of not only soldiers but other folks.
Let's talk about those other folks for a while, because that's what
Yeah.
that's where you spend most of your time.
Right. Having
Listen,
been a social worker and worked in the field of juvenile justice, there are a lot of abused children, which is not uncommon. Sexually abused, let me say that as we're talking about this sexual harassment and assault piece. I would just say be careful who you allow to come in your environment.
Yeah.
No different than what I've said with the soldiers. It's not always soldier to soldiers when they go home and what happens, or when you call someone else to take care of their doctor's appointment because you can't make it. Be careful who you put in place with your children.
Yeah.
Be careful who enters your home. Not everybody has a good agenda.
Yes, isn't it true?
Okay? Not everybody has a good agenda. And those are some things to really think about. Be careful who comes in your arena. Again, once you report, you need to know what steps are, what comes after that. You know, what happens, what type of exam, what rights do you have? Do you take a shower, you know, and stuff like that? Do you know, what do you need to bring when you go to the exam table? And you don't always have to get a full drawn out exam. Those are options. There are several options along the way.
That's if you've been assaulted.
If you've been assaulted, yes. If you've been assaulted, yes. If you've been sexually assaulted. As far as sexual harassment, those are not as severe, but it does lead to sexual assault if you don't address it in most cases.
Okay. They stopped ringing. I was going to ask you, because I don't like to interfere.
Yes.
We got 2 minutes. Have mercy. This is going by. But how do they get in touch with you? Because your business is Guidance Incorporated.
Yes.
And you deal with this, and so that is your business. Because
Yes.
you help people do that.
Okay, and
So,
quickly, I've done training, sexual harassment awareness training in local churches in the past, usually through the women's ministry, just a lot of things that people can do.
but what is your number with Guidance?
My number with Guidance Incorporated is 804-398-1614. You can also text me at that number. I'll be glad to make an appointment with you to speak with you one-on-one. I have a wonderful group of folks that work with me. Also a male who works with me who's well-versed to speak with you on the different topics as well.
Very good, Terry. So you will hear more about this in January.
I'll be
But
glad
this
to
will
come
whet
back.
your appetite, and hopefully we'll have this up on YouTube and Facebook, so that people can see and listen to this
Okay.
again. And I want you to refer this to other people that need it. You
Yes.
might not need it, but there are people who need to hear it to at least get something in their thoughts about
Yes.
doing something about it.
Yes.
Thank you all for looking in. This time went by so fast. Thank you to all the guests. I appreciate you looking in. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks again for checking us out tonight. We appreciate it. Terry, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
I'm sweating
Thank you
like
so
a
much.
pig.
Thank you so much
Is it
for
off?
coming.
It is off, isn't it?
We don't care.
Okay.
Right, we just keep going. Yeah.